A year in review. Let's review my goals and also do Ferns planttag. Hello friends, welcome to the last video of 2025. I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of a year in review, but first I'm very curious about your goals, your plant year. How was it for you? What were your plant's favorites this year? Did you have any struggles? And if so, which ones? Pests probably, maybe for some. Let me know in the comments. I'm very excited to read how you experienced this year with plants. Fern's first question, what is a plant that you crossed off your wish list this year? Actually matches with my first goal of this year, which was to get rid of big plants and minimize my collection. And if you saw that video, I did get rid of quite a few big plants, but I also got in a lot of new small plants. Like these very cool cacti. This one I saw at a trade fair recently and loved. This one is called the penis cactus. This has been on my wish list for a long time and it's finally here in my home with me. And then also some that I didn't even know existed, like this stunning variegated astrophytum and the, oh, there's more cat hairs on it now. The stacker Myrtillocactus geometrisans, such a cool one. And this one is just absolutely stunning. I also got in a lot of really special Hoya. This is Hoya Matilde inner variegated that I got at the last My Botanica from Yukon. And this is the inner variegated Polynura that actually flowered for me recently. Some of the old flowers are still here. They've been there for weeks, so they look a little bit sad and old, but that's okay. And it's grown so much. I got this, I think, with like 6 leaves maximum, and now it's this big. So that's been really fun to grow. This one is growing. As you can see, it's kind of sun stressing as well underneath my grow light. So these are absolutely amazing. I didn't even know they existed, and then I never thought I would own them because they were very expensive. But it seems like anytime I love a plant and I'm willing to wait a little bit or just never expect to get it, prices drop in the end and they become more affordable, or friends share them with me, and I'm very lucky with such amazing friends. And the last one that I would definitely call a wishlist plant that I got this year is the Ace of Spades that I got from Schmooky earlier this year. There's a yellowing leaf, it's the oldest one. Look at how dark and pretty that is. This is one with really good genes, and it's living in just a cup that I got from my mum for my birthday. But I have been having some issues in this terrarium, which I will talk about in a little bit. Luckily, this one is doing okay. So this full label is Anthurium, Ace of Spades, Dark Form, F1, SKG lineage. The roots still look very good, so I'm hopeful we'll get a new leaf in this. Maybe soon, maybe in spring. I am happy to wait. My goals number 2 and 3 were kind of interlinked. They were making YouTube a priority, which I was hopeful that quitting the yoga classes I had been teaching would give me more time, but it really didn't this year. Maybe also because I was very busy with doing different health treatments and trying to get better, and now I'm going to do even more of that in the coming year, hopefully, with the clinic and the GoFundMe that I've shared about a lot, you already know. So that wasn't really what I expected it to be. I didn't have a lot of extra time. I have been posting the yoga videos because that was quite easy. I already had them up. The renovation series I've worked on a lot this past year, but not in the last few months because it's been too busy. I'm really inspired by people like Fern and Jan and Sean, who create such beautiful content and so much of it as well, which I don't know how Fern especially does it with all the editing. I'm doing my best right now, but maybe after the clinic, after the treatment, when my brain works a little bit better again, I'll have more time. I've worked on what you're seeing on the screen. I noticed that the shades were quite dark. There's a lot of darkness, especially filming in winter. So I've worked on that recently, improving it a little bit. And actually last year I did a little call out to do a Rose response series like Jan does as well, a Sydney plant guy. I got 1 email, so thank you so much to that person, but that wasn't really enough for a full video. If you want to join in, definitely email me and put in the title Rose Response and then send me either video or photos of your plants that you want me to see. I think it would make for a fun video. I also have the community tab now where you can actually share your photos as well, and other people that view my channel can see it and respond. But in email would be even better because then I can make a video out of it. Fern's second question was, what is a genus that you want to get into more in the new year? And I'm quite happy with my collection. There is a lot already, but there are a few things that I'm still learning about, like cacti and succulents. I'm getting more and more different genera in my house. And also, it is now the perfect time to order your caladium bulbs and like the summer blooming stuff. So caladiums are on the horizon. If you want to order from Farmer Gracie, if you're in Europe, you can use my discount code with them, Roos, and then that will help me as well. I love planting caladiums when it's still cold and gloomy outside, and then they start to come up and you get all these beautiful stunning leaves all summer long. So cacti and caladium, is that an answer? Not really any new genera. Fern's third question is, what is your plant care routine? And I waited until later in the day to film this, as you can maybe tell by the lighting. It is dark outside. But we have 3 different rain barrels in the garden, so I mostly always have rainwater. It is actually freezing right now, so it was cool to see some ice in some of the heaters, the water containers. I don't know what it's called that you use to water the garden. I water with a little 5-liter watering can that I always fill up and keep in the house so that the water is nice room temperature. And then usually I try at least one day before I do the watering to bring a big can of water inside as well, so it can warm up a little bit, because right now it is definitely too cold to have it straight from outside into the plants. And then I use fertilizer. I try to alternate between different fertilizers. The last few weeks I used Hazy, Houseplant Elixir. So today again I'm using the Power Grow by Nurture System, which is Kaylee Ellen's brand. I usually mix it straight into the watering can, and then from there either fill up the bottles that I use to water the moss poles, which I will come back to in a second, and my little spraying bottle. This one I use for mostly the Hoya because they're very small pots, so it's much easier to water them with this little sprayer, just a hand sprayer. It's much easier than using the big container. And also I always make sure at the end of watering that I fill this one all the way back up, so that whenever I do need to water in between my regular Friday waters. Wait, I didn't say that. I water, or I check the plants every Friday for watering. So if I need to water extra in between, especially the Hoya with the very small pots, and especially when it's warmer in the house, then I have this ready to just go. Because with ADHD, if I have to think, I have to get water and then put some fertilizer in and then water these few plants that are thirsty, I will definitely forget. And then I like to use a kitchen utensil to make sure it's spread out everywhere. And then I go around all the plants, checking their water levels, especially in the changing seasons, and water where needed. I like, especially the Anthurium, to water pretty thoroughly because it gets pretty dry in here, and then let them sit for a little bit and then pour out the excess water. Because I have noticed that I've had some root rot issues at the bottom. You can see that on this plant as well, from having them sit either in water because I didn't check, in especially the bigger plants, they are hard to lift out of the pots, or from not being watered enough. And then when we talk about the moss poles, it actually links back to one of my goals, goal number 5, which is to improve my moss pole care. And I feel like I definitely improved it a lot. I've become much more consistent. I got all of these water bottles with holes in the top that I can use. And my boyfriend 3D printed me this little holding thing so I can just go around the house with my little organized thingy. And I put them into the moss poles at least once a week, especially, well, if they're still moist, then no, but I check them every week. And most of them are very dry, especially right now with the heating on. And I just pop them in upside down and they slowly drip in. I have noticed, especially the longer ones, they will need at least 2 or maybe 3 of these. So I refill. I usually start doing this earlier in the week, like Wednesday, Thursday, whenever I have time, so that once I start watering the plants, this has already happened. But that didn't happen this week because of Christmas, so I'm doing it now. And I add in fertilizer as well, because a lot of the roots are in the moss poles, which is helpful to then have some fertilizer as well, not just in the bottom of the pot. Especially with these huge plants, most of the leaves are probably more rooted in the moss than in the pot down all the way at the bottom itself. So this system has worked really well for me. I feel like I've improved my skills a lot, and you can also see that by the size of the leaves. They have definitely improved a lot, especially on the philodendron. So I feel like I'm more consistent and also happy with the results. So thank you for all the tips in the previous video. Fern's fifth question matches with goal 4 of mine from this year, to get bigger leaves, and actually also goal 9. She asks to hear a plant success story from 2025. And my 4th goal for this past year was to get bigger leaves, both on my Anthurium and my philodendron, and I think I have done that. If we look at my queen Anthurium, she is so beautiful. Cleo, this is the newest leaf. I have to step back to show you fully. And also my crystallinum, which I've shown you many times before. I'm also really proud of this one. This is a papillonaminum hybrid that is super dark. And as you can see, the leaf size has increased a lot. Next to my head, it is very big, and oh, it's so dark. I'm trying to get a little bit of light on it from somewhere so you can see a little bit the velvet. But this one is stunning. So I definitely think the Anthurium have had quite a bit of success. Although now that it's winter, I think they're slowing down a little bit and the tips are getting crusty again from dehydration. And it will be trouble with the next few leaves that come out until spring warms the house up again. The leaves coming out a little bit damaged because the point gets a little bit too dry. Another big leaf success story is definitely the melanochrysum that I tried so many times before this one. I was finally able to grow it properly. Let me put it on the ground so I can show you the top. This is still growing, looking beautiful. The leaves they have stalled a little bit, but that is probably due to my giving them not enough light. But they've increased in size. They're so beautiful. And I'm really hoping to get really, really big leaves on this one this next year. And another success story is my beautiful blackjack, who is looking really haggard because he is a new mom. And life is hard as a new mom. So that's why this leaf looks really horrible. The older leaves are still looking pretty good. These are really, really old leaves. But he made babies this year. And unfortunately, the seedlings that I made together with my pallidiflorum, the really long one, they didn't grow at all. Maybe because it was a kind of impossible hybrid, or maybe because I did not take care of the seeds very well. I didn't remove the slimy layer, which I have a video about. I say that in a video as well. But I crossed it again. I made a self hybrid because I figured that has better chances to grow. And it did. This is our current baby shelf. So these are all the little blackjack babies. They are looking so cute. I'm hoping for second leaf. Yeah, there's some second leaves growing already. Nice. Oh, and some aphids in here. We'll talk about pests in a second as well. I'm just gonna manually squish some aphids. I hate them so much. But hopefully next year I'll have, or this year I guess, I'll have some really cool content about the seedlings I made, and they'll get more the characteristics, because generally with Anthurium seedlings they all look the same, kind of. And then when they mature a little bit more, they'll get more of the characteristics, like the really dark colors of the blackjack. That's a success, I would say. I made babies. Fern's fifth question is a plant failure from 2025. I have plenty of those. And those match with a few different goals that I set at the start of the year. The first being goal 6, making my Hoya a little bit happier. Unfortunately, that has not really worked out. I think it's to do mostly with pest issues, because I've had a tropical tiny scale that really likes to eat new Hoya growth. I might have flat mites or something, and I had thrips on my Hoya as well. So quite a few of my beautiful big plants are now one leaf cuttings. At least these two are rooted and growing. Look at this. We have a successful new obovata leaf again, and also a little Michele leaf, Michele splash. These two plants and several more I had to completely cut up and restart because the roots had fully died. That might be my mistake as well, the care for them, but they had been in those pots for a really long time, Hoya, sometimes they don't want to stay on the same roots that long, in my experience. And this one especially is beautiful. It was so big. And I was able to sell, I think, one cutting, and the rest just rotted away, unfortunately. With some of the others, I sold some Clementiorum cuttings and some big leaf Meredithy cuttings, which definitely helped with my finances. And now I have smaller plants again for myself, which I'm absolutely happy with. They take up less space, so that's good. But I definitely had some issues with the cuttings not growing and rotting away. I definitely lost some plants, like the Latifolia inner variegated, the pot of gold. Those cuttings never rooted again for me, or they rooted but then they didn't grow. And I'm very, very happy to see that these, at least, it's hard to show you because they're so small, but there is some leaves growing for the first time in a long time. So Hoya happiness has not really happened yet, except for the new plants that I got. Those are doing pretty good and looking amazing like I showed you before. But the ones I already owned have some issues still. And even on the new ones, there's quite a few aphids on some of them, like this one. It's hard to see, but there's new growth points in between bits, and then there's aphids on those growth points. There, maybe you can see. And then this one, little Kari, such a beautiful one, had a new growth point, which I was very excited about. It was finally growing, but that now looks brown and sad. And there is a big mealybug on it. So we definitely have pest issues and just Hoya struggles. It might also be to do with the cold. One of my beautiful Hoya Thomsoni Pink had a lot of buds on it. It's a winter bloomer, but the temperatures dropped below freezing the past few days and the buds just blasted. They fell off. That's what it's called if you don't know Hoya. When all the buds suddenly fall off, it's called bud blast. So no success there yet. Then there is an Alocasia box that was doing really well, but it's not anymore. Basically, all my Alocasia? Yes. Even well, no, there's a few upstairs that are doing okay, but most of my Alocasia are looking horrible or are dead. Mainly to do with aphids, once again, but also maybe I'm not understanding them properly. They're so pretty and I really, really want to grow them, but right now the box just looks like a bunch of rotted leaves. And then maybe one plant that's still happy in there. I think the silver dragon is doing okay. And upstairs I have a few that are okay. They're also going into dormancy, so that's always good to know with Alocasia. If they die in fall, I never throw anything away. Maybe I'll check or like remove rotted parts, but someone walked by and made direct eye contact. I'm all shaken. Made direct eye contact with me. But I always wait until spring because you never know if they're just in dormancy and all the leaves died off and maybe all the roots died off, but the stem still can come back. But mine are currently not happy and they haven't been happy in a while. And then the last fill was also one of my goals, goal number 8, to fix my terrarium issues. And I still haven't done that. So the big terrarium needs a lot of care. It does look pretty nice now again. Plants are growing again, but I need to fix a rotten part and I'm looking for a piece that can replace it, but it's really big, so it's hard to find. Or I didn't have time to go to like the reptile fair where they sell those pieces. Editing Roos here, quickly breaking in because a few days after I filmed this, I actually found an amazing big piece of cork that I'm showing you here. It has some side shoots and I also bought some smaller side pieces. And Maggie did a very thorough inspection that I filmed the wrong way for here, but I did want to share because how adorable is she? She was sniffing all over the place and making sure that all the pieces I picked were the right ones. I think it's going to be good to replace this Y-beam in the center and I'm excited to build it this coming year. So the terrariums, many of them look really bad. The one here, oh you can't see, but behind the like the medium-sized one, there's a lot of trouble in that. Many of the Anthuriums are not looking nice. The really small box that looked really beautiful before is now just dead plants and then Selaginella thriving. So, oops. And this one actually is doing pretty well. I showed this in last year's video and the comparison was very cool. It's very much doing well compared to then. So this box I planted up last year. I just did a layer of perlite and then a layer of moss on top and put some small begonia in that I really wanted to do a little bit better. And maybe you can see the rooting one here. There's a huge one in the back. There's beautiful Labicia in there as well. And there's a flowering one in there. This is not what I wanted it to be, because I wanted it to be a planted terrarium, but it is looking really good. So I put it in the cabinet and it looks really nice. I need to get some grow lights for that. But this is the least fail of all the terrarium fails. Fern's next question, I always struggle to answer. She asks a plant trend prediction for 2026. I never really know. I just do what I like and I don't really pay attention to the trends. I have noticed that there's a lot of variegated plants still coming out, like a lot of variegated Alocasia that we loved as regular plants and now they're becoming available as variegated plants, first at a very expensive price and then slowly lowering in price. So that's really cool. I mean, variegated black velvet or a dragon scale or I don't know, scalprum and cupria are so pretty because they're so red, so the variegation becomes more pink. And that's also happening with regular like philodendron and even Anthurium as well, variegated versions coming out. So I feel like that's something that people are interested in, but at the start only people with a good budget, and then at the end of the line is me and other people with not so much a good budget. So that's something I feel like maybe easier to care for plants because people are back to regular life, COVID is done, and so plants that just thrive in easy care is actually pretty nice to have, like my whole cactus collection here in the windowsill. There's more people walking by. Or just more simple houseplants. Does that make any sense? Do you agree with that also? Maybe begonia. I definitely think Anthurium are still very, like, doing well. At least I love them a lot. So yeah, that's my answer. And then Fern's question number 7, what season do you find the most challenging regarding plant care? And definitely the first is winter, in which we are now, because my house gets very cold. There is a lot less light. Also, we have some buildings in front of my house, so the light gets blocked by those houses. In summer, the sun goes over and just comes kind of straight down. I do love in winter that the sun reaches all the way to the back of the house. So all of a sudden, the terrarium is in the light, the Anthurium in the back wall are in direct sunlight, which doesn't happen in summer. So there's benefits to it as well, and it's a lot lower, like there's not as much to do with this many plants because they require a little bit less care. My main worry is for them to survive the cold because our house is now much better insulated, but still we're having issues with temperature. Like right now, I think it's 18 degrees near the heater. So then near the window, it's probably more like 16, 15, which is not great. But then also, all the way on the other spectrum, we have summer where I kind of have to water twice a week, especially for the plants living near my south-facing windows, and the moss balls dry out super fast. So that is a little bit more work. But then I'm skipping around in my bikini and just spraying water everywhere. And in winter it's cold and I don't want to get to the rainwater that's cold. And I don't know, winter is just more worry. And summer is a little bit more work, but less worry, if that makes sense. Fern's question 8 matches my goal number 7, which is to do with pests. Fern asks, what plant pest do you struggle with the most or fear the most? And my goal number 7 was to share more about pests, to show more of the reality about pests. And I am starting to do that. I started a new series. I have one out right now about aphids, but I want to share my updated knowledge about all different kinds of pests, how you recognize them quickly, what they do, how they grow, how quickly they can multiply like aphids, because this year definitely has been the year of the aphids. I have struggled with them all year and still do. Also, scale. I have different types of scale, at least 3 different types. The small tropical one that is ruining all my Hoya. Then the flat scale on the back of the leaves on like Anthurium and stuff. And in the creases and everything. And then also the half rounded little domes scale that just keep popping up, especially on Anthurium, which is very frustrating. Thrips was also one of them that I struggled with quite a lot, but especially with my mom's plant and then also some other family members, I found something that works pretty well, a insecticide that's made from natural materials. It is definitely, you have to be careful how you use it, always with any toxic stuff, but for my mom at least, it worked really well. It's called Conserve Garden by, I will put it on the screen. We sprayed the plants with it and then we watered it as well into the plant so that it takes it up for I think about 20 days. The plant is like protected from the inside as well. This was a tip from some of my plant friends. In my own collection, I'm using the good bugs, so it's a little bit harder. But yeah, I have definitely learned this year that I thought I just put the good bugs out and that's enough. But no, you have to also spray the plants down. Even if it's just with water before you get the new bugs in, you have to spray them down, remove as much as you can with water and then with tissues to dry them. So it's a lot more work and I really hate pests. It's my least favorite thing about this hobby. Out of like by far, like on the top there. And the rest of the things are maybe down here. So yeah, it's been a pest-ridden year. Question 9 that Fern asks is, what is your top wish list plant for 2026? And this is kind of hard for me because I feel like my collection is already amazing and I kind of want to minimize it a little bit, like make less plants. But there's one plant that I absolutely love that died for me, Hoya Borneo. And it's pretty common. It's not very expensive anymore. But my big plant died. And at the My Botanica, I was asking all the Hoya stands, do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? And they all said they have it, but they didn't bring it to the market. So I still don't have it again. It is such a stunning one. I really hope to grow it again in 2026. Other than that, I'm open to whatever comes my way. Because sometimes I just get plants like, where is it? This one. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Okay, we're lifting. This one is my mint variegated Thai constellation that I got from a friend. I didn't even know if I wanted it. And now it's one of my favorite. It is so beautiful and easy to grow. And I love this. Like, see how it's so minty? I absolutely love that. Don't want to hold on to it for too long though. And same with other things like that I've gotten as gifts or in trades with friends or from you guys in trades that I never expected to really enjoy. And I absolutely love them. So I don't really have like a list anymore like I used to. I have a highlight on my profile where I have some plants that I don't have yet and that I think are cool, but I'm not in a rush to like buy them. Also because of budget, like I don't have any money, so how am I gonna buy them? But I'm very curious to hear what is your top wish list plan for 2026, because I feel like it's quite different in different parts of the world as well, and we're a very international community. So please, if you are commenting, write your wish list plant and then also where you are from, because that is definitely some plants that I see people from the US, for example, writing, they really want are here just in the garden centers, and probably the other way around as well. So I'm out of breath from lifting up the big ones there. My goal number 10 doesn't really match into the questions from Ferns, but I did want to mention it was of me wanting to be more creative. And I feel like I have done that with testing out different videos, also making videos about like my nail polish, which is a hobby. These are still my Christmas nails, and the embroidery that I've been working on. This is my new project. The project I showed last year is actually finished. And now I have gotten a lot of work done on a new project. It's a little bit harder as well, which is fun to challenge myself, but also I still want it to be just easy and fun. I am so lucky to have these huge cabinets now where all my hobbies, especially my creative hobbies, are organized so well. I know where everything is, because if you have ADHD, you might recognize this, but if something is out of my sight, it is kind of out of my mind. So for example, this little box with the embroidery sits on the sofa where I sit to do it, so that I see it and then I do it. Same with all the nail polishes. They are super organized now in my cabinet, which helps me to not buy any new ones or like want to buy any new ones, because I have so many that I haven't worn in such a long time. So it feels really special to have this cabinet. There is so many different parts, so many different hobbies. But now I feel like I know where they are. They're kind of top of mind. I can open the doors and see them and be inspired to do something on the sewing machine or knit something again or crochet something or do something with paper. So many hobbies. So I feel very, very lucky that we built this cabinet this past year, and with the help of my brother-in-law, especially René, who helped us to make it this good, and with the amazing paint and wallpaper by Little Green that we got sponsored to make it a lot more affordable. So I feel very lucky to have all this creativity right under my fingertips, like we did the tiny tree house. 1 second. I shared this also, I hadn't done it yet, and I did a live recently where I shared me putting it together. Not this one, the other one that I have. I'm gonna do this one as well, but just making it more easy and accessible has helped me to enjoy it more instead of just be on my phone or watch a series or like scroll. So I'm definitely happy with how the creativity part turned out. Now, Fern's last question, I might leave for a separate video because I'm not just gonna pick one. Because she asks, what is your favorite plant of 2025? And as you know, I usually make a video of my different favorite plants of the different genera, and it's like a whole thing. So I made a list. I'm very excited to share different ones. This, by the way, is a Thai constellation that I got as a rescue project from a garden center, and it's looking super, super cute. If I do have to pick one, I might say my philodendron Ilse-mani, and I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it. I'm saying Ilse-mani because Ilse is a common Dutch name. But I was just watching a Kill Yellen video and she was saying Ilmani because in English, Isle is written as like I-L-S-E. So I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but this is my Ilse-mani. I'm just gonna continue calling it Ilse-mani for now. And I absolutely love it because it started with about 10 green, fully green leaves. This plant, if you don't know, has stable variegation, it's called. So it doesn't go away, you just have to give it the right conditions. And this summer was definitely the right conditions. It made a new leaf every 4 to 9 weeks. So every month to every 2 months, I got a new leaf. They are so beautiful. The variegation is awesome. I have it on a moss pole, which is definitely seeming to help make it happy. So if I have to pick for now, I'm picking this one, but you'll get a whole video with all my different ones from the different genera, so I can also show you my favorite begonia, terrarium plants, Hoya, cacti. I've already done that a little bit, and just all the aroids. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for being here, always for watching my content. I'm gonna go celebrate starting the new year together with my boyfriend and my cats, our cats, and our plants. And I hope you're feeling good today. I hope you're ending the year on a good note and making space for the new year. I actually didn't talk much about goals for the new year, so maybe that should be a video separately as well, because I kind of haven't reviewed my year. Usually I review the year first, I go through my phone, my photos, my calendar, and then I make a list of everything that I learned throughout the year that I experienced, and then I find new goals for the new year. Mainly for the plants, I guess, it's make the collection easy, fix my terrariums, fix the issue plants, or maybe get rid of them, just give up on them, and start my caladiums. So I'm excited for that as well. Thank you so much. Give a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a nice comment. You can click the bell, then you get notified every time I upload, and I will see you in 2026.